fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head Left D, tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Season 8 finale of Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. Thanks for waking up with us. Back in our sound room this morning. One more time, our TK and Heavy D will join them a little bit later in the program. And out in studio are, of course, it's always Covey and Kearns. Excited to talk to them on this final episode of the spring sports season. Ken, what do you say? Ready to do this one more time?
I am, Craig. Good morning, everybody. And what a great Thursday it's going to be, Craig. I'm surprised Kearns is up with us already. He's got himself a big game today, but he'll go home and get a little nap after this game's over with. But, what a great time of the year to be a baseball fan in high school sports. And only the best and hottest teams are playing right now, Craig. And we got a lot of locals right now. We've got, out of the MAC, we've got Coldwater, Versailles, and Minster. And, of course, out of the Shelby County League, everybody's Cinderella team across the state of Ohio, and that's the Russia Raiders. Coach Flippo's got his team playing the best baseball of the season right now, and they're looking forward to the party in Springfield in about 6 or 8 hours, right, Craig?
That's right, and we're gonna reminisce a little bit this morning too, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We're going to go back, and we're going to talk to Russia native Ron Schulze, Craig. He's a native of the Russia Raider high school graduate, 1971 state championship baseball team, Craig. He was the tournament MVP. All he did was go 5 for 5 in the state championship game, hit for the cycle, and still holds 3 state tournament records. Really looking forward to talking to Ron here in just a few minutes.
All right, well, let's get things started. And, of course, track and field is going on. The big state meets coming up the next couple days here, Friday and Saturday. Plenty of locals still involved in state track and field. You go to Division II, you've got, of course, got Anna, Versailles, they have plenty of locals that will be competing in that. And then in Division III, lots of them as well. So do want to give a little shout out to my daughter, Anna. She's been running for the past 6 years for Russia High School and the junior high, I guess, if you want to go back 6 years. But running her last race makes me a little bit sad, but also a little bit happy that she's going to be ending it over there at Jesse Owens. There you see her with her 3 teammates in the 4x8 relay. You've got her classmate there in the middle, Claire Meyer, as well as sophomore Becca Sager on the left, as well as freshman Ella Haney there on the right. Ken, they come in ranked number 16 out of 18 teams in the 4x8, but you know as well as I do, crazier things have happened.
Crazy things have happened, Craig. I seen a team one year come in ranked number 9 and actually walked away with a state championship. I'm sure Heavy D back there in the sound room remembers that race quite well as well.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a couple highlights. Maybe if you're thinking about going over there, or you just want to know different people maybe to watch, or anyone that could be possibly win an individual title, I'm going to have to go with the Minster Wildcats. They have a 4x8 team, Ken, that's very, very good. They won the Southwest Regional last week. They're one to watch. They're the favorite going in to win that, as well as their senior over there, Madeline Magato, who's actually went to the state meet in the 800 the last 3 years. She's finished third all 3 years. This year she comes in with the best time in Division III in the state. So look forward to her possibly getting her first individual title over there in that event. So it should be a lot of fun there. Other people to watch, I guess you should say, would be Fort Laramie Junior Kennedy Gephardt. Very good in the 100, 200. Ken, I think she comes in ranked maybe with a number 2 times in both those events. You know as well as I do, you get to the state meet, those sprints are very tough to win, and she's going to have her hands full, that's for sure, but she's one to watch. And then over in the shot put, we've talked about her all season, Bakken senior over there, Grace Holman, very good. She'll have her hands full actually with another local girl over at Covington. There's a senior, Lauren Christian, that's very good as well, so expect those two to be at the top of the results, maybe top of the podium, possibly at the end of the weekend, so look forward to that. As far as team races go, Ken, we've talked about this in seasons past. at the state meet, it doesn't take a lot of points to win. Sometimes you see a team win with, 20, 30 points, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, I think the West Liberty Salem Tigers are actually going to double that this year.
Wow.
They are very good. They send over 10 individuals, I believe, that are all running in either relays or individual events. They are very good. I see them. I said last week we had Coach Vogel on this show. I said they were going to run away with the district and regionals, which they basically did. I think they're going to run away with the state, too, because I think they get 50, 60 points. I think your second-place team could be a couple different teams. Maybe the Archbold has a very good team. Grove City Christian has a good team. And Minster has a very good team. So Minster finished third last week at the regionals. I think they'll battle for that second spot. Fort Laramie, who finished runner-up last week, and we know how crazy the state meet can be, they're going to have a tough time probably qualifying some individuals for Saturday. I think they're going to struggle a little bit more than Minster, but that's just how the state meet goes. If you go over on the boys' side, you may say, hey, Fort Laramie won last week, Craig, at the regionals. What's their chances of winning this week? I think Fort Laramie, actually, same situation. I think they're going to it's going to be tough for them to get some runners into those final events. So I don't think they're going to, by any means, win this. I think they're going to finish down there quite a bit. But there's some teams like Columbiana, Crestview. You've got East Canton, Gilmore Academy, Mount Gilead, all very good teams. I think it's going to be a good team race over there. I don't think Fort Laramie's going to get it done. I think Fort Recovery, a team that we saw at the regionals, is probably going to be the closest local team to finish maybe in that fourth, fifth spot. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun. You can follow everything, of course, online at finishtiming.com. I'll be over there at the on Friday, tweeting, of course, so you can watch the Fish Report Twitter for results as well. So it should be a lot of fun, though.
Yep, good luck to all those runners over there at Jesse Owens, as well as, like I said, all the local baseball teams that are in the Sweet 16 this weekend, playing for a shot in the state tournament.
Well, speaking of the Sweet 16, Ken, let's go out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns out there. I know there's no softball to talk about, guys, this morning with the last local team, Minster, bowing out last week, but Kearns, you got a game to get to here in a couple hours.
Yeah, I do. It's a pretty big one. We're in the regional semifinal playing Cincinnati Christian. We're excited for it. No one really thought we'd be here, but here we are. And I had to keep a regular schedule. I didn't want to kind of throw off my WAS, so I'm here just like usual, having a good time with you guys.
Well, I know you're on the mound here this morning, so we won't take up too much of your time. But, Kobe, I'd like a little perspective from you. Cincinnati Christian comes into this game, and this is the team that Russia played last year. What do you look forward to seeing from Cincinnati Christian?
Yeah, we played Cincinnati Christian my senior year, and unfortunately it just didn't go the way we expected it. Has just had some defensive lapses, and their pitcher, Mitchell Smith, just pounded the strike zone really good, and he's expected back on the hill today. The biggest thing for the Raiders, from my perspective, is just trying to jump on early. We know offense hasn't been their strong point for a lot of parts of the season, but if Rush can get a run in one of those first or second frames there and put a little pressure back on Cincinnati Christian and maybe make them question themselves a bit, I think that's going to be huge for the Raiders. I think Daniel's going to have to pitch masterful, and I have no doubt that he's going to do that again because this dude's just set about every record in the book, and I'm proud to call him my partner in crime out here for the past 2 seasons.
We're proud to call him part of our team over here at Fish Report, and it's going to be sad to see him move off to college, won't it, Kobe?
Yeah, I thought he might try to have a little extension on our contract situation like I did, but I think he needed about a couple more peanuts, and that might have sufficed. But I don't think Craig and Ken, you wanted to offer 2 more peanuts that he wanted. So, but I'll take the peanuts though.
Well, we got more on that here in just a second, but I want to ask you, Daniel. Let's talk about this Carlton-Davidson Stadium over there at Springfield. What for those that haven't been to that park? How does that place set up? To me, it always seemed like kind of a big stadium, I guess you say.
Yeah, I've watched games there, and I've played games there, fortunately, since my freshman year. A couple of travel teams I played there in the last 3 years. I've been fortunate enough to win the district and get over there. And once you get out on the field and you see the fans from both teams, it's an incredible feeling. It just makes it feel so big, and it's a great atmosphere for kids to be in. And if you're fortunate enough to play there, just take in the moment. This will be my last time ever playing there. I'm grateful to play there the past 3 years. And it's an incredible feeling. It's huge. Last 3 years I think we've been rained out or had rain troubles, but on a beautiful day, it's nothing better playing on that field. The grounds crew's amazing. The field's almost in perfect condition every time you step onto it. It's amazing.
Kobe, let me ask you one question. I'll direct this question to Kobe. Russia comes in as the Cinderella. We opened up the floodgates for Division IV. Russia Raiders, when they knocked off Fort Laramie, who is definitely the best Division IV team in the state of Ohio. How can the Raiders use this to their advantage? They're playing with house money. They're there, but they're not supposed to be there. They're just having a whole bunch of fun right now. Kobe, how do you think this plays into their favor?
I think that makes you, from Coach Flippo's perspective, be aggressive, and I think maybe taking a little more chance. Like you said, nobody expects you to be there, so take that chance. Take that steal, that hit and run, that suicide squeeze, to try to get those teams to make them question themselves, and kind of try to play your style of ball game. I mean, we see it all the time. People try to play tempo in high school basketball. We always say it with someone like Jackson Center, who will slow the game down. But you need to really just be aggressive. Just try to pull out the unexpected. You need to really hop on Cincinnati Christian early, I think, to let them know that you're a legit team. And everyone should know Russia's a legit team after beating Fort Laramie. But they've really got to get the bats going. They've got to get the hits in the crucial situations, and they can't let the airs amount and snowball up on them, because this guy's we know is going to pitch a fantastic game, and the defense is going to have to play good behind him.
You talk about big hits, guys, and it's kind of a pitcher's park over there because of that big outfield. But I was talking to one of the assistant coaches last night, Coach Scott Flippo, and he mentioned that, Ken, your son Carter hit one out of Russia, which I know had just 305 down the line. If Carter can get about maybe 30 more feet on that with out of that bat, maybe he can take one out of Carlton Davidson there.
I'm hoping for one in the gap somewhere.
That'll work as well. Well, Ken, you mentioned a little earlier that it's kind of a sad note here on this final episode of season number 8, and that's because we're going to lose Daniel out there. He's going off to college, kind of like our son's growing up and moving away. But we have a little tribute to Daniel and his time here the last 2 seasons, and I think Heavy D is going to roll that little tribute. So watch this.
Kobe, you pretty much said it all right there, didn't you?
Hey, Kearns, how do you top that?
I'm just here to look good. That's about
You
it.
must have forgot to pay the electric bill out there in Studio R this week.
Well, it's nice and warm in here.
It's warm in here, but it looks a little frigid out there, guys.
It looks like Kearns is still eating his breakfast. Kearns, you're going to be okay? You're going to be able to put the bowl of cereal down this morning so you can enjoy the show, or you're going to double duty here and eat and talk at the same time?
I think I'll double duty.
Yeah. I've heard you talk with your mouth full before, so this should be nothing new.
Yep.
Kobe's not out there with you in Studio R, but it looks like you've got a sidekick.
Yeah, I brought in a new sidekick. He's a little bigger and fluffier than Kobe, but they're still just as cute as each other. So I'm just happy to not be so lonely on him.
Kearns looks like he may have slept here last night. I'm not sure.
I wanted to make sure I didn't oversleep, so I just slept here.
What do you think, Ken? You going to miss him?
I'm going to miss him, Craig, and that was a great tribute. I'm glad you put that together. I remember all those pictures and times, but I forgot about some of them. But I think my favorite one had to be when they had those ski masks on there, and they were that cold.
Yeah, it was a little cold out there in Studio
It
R.
was.
We forgot to turn the heat on
Poor
that
guys.
morning. So.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, guys. And again, Daniel, we're going to miss you. Thanks for everything you've done with our crew here the last 2 seasons. It's been a lot of fun, and Kobe's going to be a little bit lonelier with you out there in Studio R, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's been great these past 2 years. Thanks for having me on. I was really happy when you asked me to be on. This has been a great memory and a great experience for me.
You've done great work for us. So we'll maybe we'll after the game tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll be listening or tonight. We'll be listening to some Dixieland Delight. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, that song comes on.
All right, great stuff, guys. Thanks for that. And we're going to take a short break, Ken, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more baseball, including reminiscing about that old Russia State Championship back in 1971.
standing tall in the motherland. And you were born with heart, raised on pride. There's something to go wrong through your bloodline. Oh, 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 loaded, bruised, and slain. Devised by foolish views. Religious divide on mother may create civil war on my family. Oh, 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 bloody, bruised, and slain. Oh, 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 pride in this name.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, Ken, we were talking about the regional baseball tournament. And inevitably, when it gets to this point of the season and Russia is still playing, it's going to rekindle some of those old memories of Russia State Baseball Championship back in 1971. It's still the school's only team state title, and it's 48 years now. So this morning here to talk with us about some of those memories is the MVP of that state tournament, Ron Schulze. Ron, thanks for joining us on Fish Report Live.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate you having me.
Well, listen, can you give us a kind of a brief synopsis for our viewers out there that don't know anything about 1971 and that state tournament? What was Russia expected to be in this at that game or at that tournament, and who were some of the teams that were involved?
Well, actually, we felt that we belonged there. We did have a pretty good county that year. We actually had beaten Fort Laramie in the sectional championship in 10 innings that day.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Don Cardonier actually hit a ball over at Covington that actually landed in a plowed field that stopped dead, and they picked it up and threw it back in and only got a triple out of it, but he scored on a sacrifice fly, and that ended up being the winning run. So that was one of the teams that actually we thought if we could get by Fort Laramie, we had a real good chance to go on to the state. We felt that way that year.
Ron, I know you're still in the Ohio high school record book for several records: most hits in a state tournament game with 5, most runs in a game, I believe, with 5, most RBIs with 5. And another, I guess, mark that it's not in that record book that I know that you accomplished was hitting for the cycle, I believe, and I think it was your last at bat where you actually needed a home run to complete that cycle. And I think that's kind of a neat story. Can you tell our viewers about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of information about that. That's a true story, and I did hit for the cycle that day, but according to my coach, it almost didn't even happen. The coach was actually about to put someone else in for me because I was already at that time a perfect 4 for 4 at the plate, and he didn't want to ruin my perfect day. I started off with a triple, and actually that was a gift triple. I hit a ball to left field. The left fielder came in a couple steps and realized it was hit harder than he thought. He went back, it went over his head, and I ended up getting a triple out of it. And then I think my next 3 at-bats, I had 2 doubles and a single, and my last at-bat was when Coach Eckenwater almost didn't leave me in the ball game, but I'm glad he did. So it worked out for me. Actually, the ball I actually hit, I still can see it today. You know, sometimes you can't remember what happened just a week or two ago, but I can still see that pitch coming in at the home plate when I was batting.
Ron, good morning. This is Ken. Appreciate you getting up early this morning and joining us and talking some fun baseball talk here. Tell us who some of the other guys were, some of the instrumental keys of that 71 Russia State Championship team.
Okay. Gary Schulze, I can give you like our starting lineup. I batted leadoff, played center field, and Gary Schulze my first cousin, and also he was our second baseman and a very good hitter, good bunter. Dave Francis was our second pitcher that year, and he also played shortstop, our number 3 hitter. And Don Cardonier, first baseman for us. You couldn't throw anything by him. He could scoop everything out of the dirt. Ended up being drafted that year by the Cleveland Indians that summer in June. And then we had Rick Bensman at the hot corner at third, real good player, great hitter. And then actually out in right field, we had 2 guys that alternated back and forth depending on who was pitching, whether it was a left-hander. If it was a left-hander, we had Denny Meyer playing. And if it was a right-handed pitcher, then Rick Geyer played. And neither one of those guys even played their freshman, sophomore, junior years. And we thought we were going to have a good team, so we talked them into coming out because we knew they were good ball players, and they ended up finishing the whole season with us. And then in left field, we had Johnny Grogine. John, actually, if it wouldn't have been for him, I never would have had a chance at my big game, actually, in the state championship. The day before, we beat Portsmouth East 3-2, and Johnny had 3 hits that day, and I think we only had a total of maybe 5 or 6 hits as a team. But he got 3 of them, and he was always teasing me about that afterwards. He says, "You're just lucky I got 3 hits the day before, so you could have your big day, Ron." And it was kind of neat. But then we had Dan Gubo was our catcher, a very good catcher, solid behind the plate, and he recently passed, and hated to see that. And then Neil Schaefer was the MVP of Shelby County that year in baseball, and he was our pitcher. And a very good pitcher, probably averaged 12 to 14 strikeouts per ball game.
Wow.
Had a nasty curve, just a great player. So we had a really good team that year.
That's great stuff there, Ron. You know what? Today's world of social media, you know, everybody looks at pictures and everything's about pictures. But you know, if there's some things that you could describe to our listeners out there that maybe pictures could not show, you know, what fond memories do you have of winning that state championship?
I think actually the biggest part of winning the state was the excitement in the whole community that year. I'll never forget when we came back from Columbus that day. We came back, and actually on Rangeline Road, which is the road I lived on, there was fire trucks there, and they had some convertibles there that threw all the ball players onto and into the convertibles, and they hauled us around town. It was just unbelievable. We had a blast. They blocked off the streets there in front of what is now the new store in town, and it was back then it was Shep's Place. They blocked off the streets. They had a big old cow tank full of refreshments for the ball team, and nobody could drive down those streets. And there was also a wedding that night. I remember in Russia, it was actually Ann Borchers got married that night. I felt kind of sorry for her because most of the people that were at the wedding, I heard, end up coming down to the party and celebrated with all of us ball players. But I think that was one of the most exciting things, and just the way the whole community was behind us, and all of the people coming over congratulating us. That was so neat when we did all that.
I'll bet you there's a lot of people in the community that know when Ann Borcher's anniversary day is.
I bet you're right, Ken.
Hey, how about any mementos, any souvenirs that you've been able to cherish over the last 48 years?
Actually, after that game, one of the big things that I got was actually Coach Eckenwater came over. And while I mentioned Coach Eckenwater, it is his birthday today, in case anybody wants to know. It's his birthday today. Wow. I'm not sure how old he is, but it's his birthday today.
Neat.
But he did come to my house after the game and actually brought the bat that I had used that day, along with the ball that I had hit over the fence for the Grand Slam. And I've got both of those, and those are two of the biggest mementos I've got from that ball game.
Ron, I have one more question. I assume, were you a senior that year, and was the bulk of your starting lineup seniors, or not necessarily?
Yes, I was a senior. There was actually 8 of the 9 starters, 8 of the 10 starters, because 2 guys alternated, but 8 of the 10 were actually seniors. The only 2 that were juniors were Dave Francis and Dan Gubo.
Okay.
All right, Ron, listen, one more question before we let you go. But, you eventually settled in Fort Laramie. You and your wife, Vicki, raised a wonderful family. You had kids that had all kinds of athletic achievements over there at Fort Laramie. But I'd like to know, that magical season of 1971, where does that rank in your heart after all these years, 48 years?
Well, it's pretty high up there, but I still have to say that meeting my wife and getting married to her is number one. And then having the birth of our 4 children has got to be right in there, number 2 or 3. And then watching our children play in sports is actually one of the most exciting things that we got to experience. I was fortunate enough to have all 3 of my sons play at the state in baseball. Back in 2002, my oldest son, Chad, and my second oldest son, Ryan, were senior and sophomore, and they both made the state team, and they ended up getting beat in the first game at the state. But then in 2007, my youngest son, Jay, went to state, and they won the state championship, and that was probably one of the biggest thrills of my life. Actually, it was a bigger thrill than me winning this or being on a team that won the state championship. So I think probably winning the state myself comes shortly after that.
Well, listen, Ron, that's great stuff. We appreciate you getting up early this morning and being on our show. And, as you know, the Russia Raiders entering the regional tournament tonight as a Cinderella and a team that's on a nice postseason run here. And hopefully they can get there and achieve some of the things you did some 48 years ago.
Well, I appreciate that, and I wish them the best of luck, too. So thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks,
you,
Ron.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right, that was Ron Schulze from 1971. Ken, 48 years. Hard to believe it's been that long.
Mm-hmm.
Still the only team state championship over at Russia. Time for another one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but one thing they can never take away that Shelby County can never take away, Craig, it might be their only one, but it was the first Shelby County League state championship.
You are right on
and
that.
they can never take that away. Is that right?
Sure. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, listen, we got a couple minutes left, so let's go back to the sound room this morning. Check in with TK and Heavy D for one last time, guys, in season number 8 here, the final show of the spring sports season. And what do you got for me?
All I know is it has to be near the end of the season because we're out of cashews.
Fish Report is out of peanuts.
We're out of peanuts, so I'm not working until it's full again. That'll probably be about September, so it's a good time to take a little bit of a break and enjoy the outdoors. Maybe it'll stop raining and we'll do something outside for a little while.
We'll have to get with the Fish Report sponsors on maybe some more peanuts to take care of our sound room guys.
Maybe
that's for
Kobe
sure.
can take care of that one for us.
He might be able to. He's going to be by himself. So, guys, the floor is yours. Last show of the season, last few minutes of the final episode. Take it away.
Yeah, so well, go ahead, TK.
That's about all I
What you
had
had?
was out of nuts. We're done.
Out of nuts, out of D's nuts. Fun season 8. I think for me it's my 7th season, maybe. I'm not sure, but anyhow, been a lot of fun this year, and we'll miss Daniel definitely next year. Daniel, best of luck at college, and the boys have been a lot of fun, and they actually got their picture in the paper graduating here recently in the City Daily News, and I'm not sure if they're going to be real successful in life
picture,
or not based on the looks of that picture, but maybe they'll give it their
That looks
best
like
shot.
something that shows up on social media, one of those funny websites or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it looks like they didn't know their picture was being taken there.
But their little Lucky Charm there in the middle, Jordan Bussey, been instrumental at the games here recently. They rub his head, bring him good luck, and hope to see him tonight, later on today, down in Springfield. So
Most of them have
shout out to Jordan Buss. He hit a grand slam in youth baseball at one
did.
time. Remember that?
did.
most of them have a pretty good amount of facial hair there. I wonder if they'll maintain that even after the baseball season's over or
I
not.
don't know. They probably will.
They might. All right, guys. Well, if that's all you got, that's going to wrap it up for season number 8. Appreciate it as always. And Ken, any final words for you?
No, it's kind of it's a bittersweet season for the 4 of us because we've all got seniors, and they've all graduated last weekend. They're all moving into the next chapter of their life, but they've all had successful athletic and academic careers at Russia High School. They've gave us a lot of memories to cherish, and from my heart to theirs, to TK, to Heavy D, and to to Craig's, and our children. Best of luck to them because they've been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of why we got into this whole show in the first place. 8 seasons ago, is to talk about them and talk about their sports they participate in. So yeah, it's a big part of why we do this. So it's who knows what the next season's going to hold, if we'll be back or not. We'll enjoy the summer and hopefully be back in the fall. That's for
right.
Sure. All right, well, with that's going to wrap it up. Do want to say special thanks to our guest, Ron Schulze, for being on the show here this morning. For Ken, myself, TK, Heavy D, Covey, and Kearns, have a great summer, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole when you tune in to the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond.